Hello, I am Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering Hocus Pocus.
Where we're going to
So,
cast a spell on you.
Before we get started, I'm going to spin the wheel to determine what we are covering tomorrow. And you can join us next week for Something and Dragon Ball Z Abridged Season 3. And the wheel... Oh, God.
What?
The wheel landed on Peter Pan.
What? Okay, then.
Yeah. So, we gotta do Peter Pan now.
This is all your fault.
No, it's yours.
Bitch, I know who put that on the wheel.
Yeah, but it's your fault that we're doing it.
Why? How? In fact.
Because. Alright, so this podcast will contain spoilers for Hocus Pocus. If you would like to avoid those spoilers, there will be a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this movie. That page will have links to all the places you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie. For us here in the US, it's on Disney+. Our link is to the US version of the site. However, if you use the app, it will automatically redirect you to your country's page, and you can change the country from the website page itself. Also in the description is a link to our Patreon, where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes early, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. That podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. New episodes coming soon. Also in the description is a link to Anchor.fm, which itself will have links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified when we release a new episode.
You know how next year our podcast is going to land on April 1st? You should start off that episode like, so there's a link in the description, and just do not specify anything else. There are links in the description. That's it.
No. But anyway, with all that being said, please get out if you'd like to avoid spoilers for this movie, because we're going to start talking about it now.
This is a really old movie. We've covered older movies, obviously, but it's been a while since we've gone back to the 90s.
Shit, I actually wanted to look something up about this movie.
What about it?
I want to find out if it can really take place when it says it does.
300 years prior?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual events of the movie itself.
Oh. I can't remember when it says it takes place.
Okay, so this movie cannot take place on October 31st, 1993, despite what this movie claims.
Why?
Because they claim that this night has a full moon. It does not.
Is that really the thing that you're getting hung over about?
I'm not getting hung over, but this is something that annoys me.
That there wasn't a full moon on this exact day?
Yes.
In the work of fiction?
I hate timeline errors.
But, Avery, there's fucking witches, okay?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just one minor thing in this overall mess.
You can explain that really easily by saying that time moon in that universe just doesn't carry over to our own reality. Unless it's just physically impossible for a full moon to be on Halloween, which I don't think that's the case.
I don't think it's the case that it's physically impossible for a full moon to be on Halloween. It just wasn't in
In fact, I think I've
1993.
heard about that before. Unless if you know about the Sanderson sisters in the real world, I don't think this is a documentary.
I'm actually curious when the last time that there was a full moon on Halloween.
I swear it was. I feel like it was recently, like in the last few years.
Well, I'm looking it up.
Cool.
2020.
Knew it.
Oddly,
Of course, it was 2020.
yeah, like oddly that feels appropriate.
So I think we should start talking about the movie. Actually, I want to talk about how I discovered the movie
Oh,
because it was
I'm
interesting.
sorry, just one more thing.
Sure.
According to NASA, a Halloween full moon happens every 19 years.
Huh. So this is what the government is giving money for NASA
So
for.
let's just do the math on like when this movie could take place, assuming it took place in our world and had and actually had a full moon on Halloween. I just want to do a little bit of experiment. Either take place in 1982 or 2001. And considering nobody is mentioning 9/11, I'm going to assume it's 1982.
You pulled a lot of
I
resources for that
literally
one.
pulled a calculator and Google. I don't think that's a lot of resources.
Fine, I guess I should say you're pulling in a lot
That's
of
also
effort
not a lot
for
of
that.
effort, really. But yeah, the next full moon on Halloween will be in 2039.
Okay then. Everyone get ready for 2039. It's
No,
gonna
it
be a
won't.
bloodbath.
But yeah,
Could be.
go ahead and talk about how you discovered this movie.
So, I think I told you this before, but I was out of town. I believe I was visiting family in a different state. I forgot what state it
The
was.
state of confusion.
I never leave there. And I remember all the adults. Okay, I should probably say I was like pretty young kid. All the adults went out, and the oldest kid was like watching everyone. And this is the movie that we watched.
Interesting. You want to talk? You want to talk about your thoughts on the movie?
You know, I will. There's a lot of things about this movie that I like, and quite a bit of things that's like, well, that was a movie, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of things. While there's a lot of things I like about this movie, it also leaves no lasting impact either.
Yeah. So
You
why
know
the fuck did this movie get a sequel?
That's actually a really good question, and that's why I fucking put it on the wheel. That's what I want to know.
I can't imagine it being good because honestly, this movie is movie is just that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, the Sanderson sisters nailed their roles. Absolutely. They carried the movie.
I actually think what's her face? The little sister. I think her and the cat carried this movie personally.
Nah, I love the Sanderson sisters. The amount of energy that they bring to this movie is just fantastic.
Well, your opinion, my opinion. At the end of the day, opinions are just onions with pie shoved in them.
I thought you were just going to be saying, your opinion. Sadly, that's wrong.
I mean, you can't really have a wrong opinion regarding this movie unless it's that this is the greatest movie to ever exist.
No, I mean, you can also say that this is the worst movie to ever exist, which I would
Yeah,
happily
I
disagree
think
with.
we've covered movies that are significantly worse.
Yeah, and it's not even that this movie is great. I mean, I will defend this movie that is an mid to good movie, you know? But I think I'm mostly saying it's not the worst movie because I've
I mean,
absolutely seen
I'm
worse.
firmly in the camp of bad to meh. Yeah, like I didn't
Really?
really enjoy this one. I had a particular problem with it, and it's namely the fact that I. It has to do with the fact that a lot of this movie takes place at night, and it made it really, really difficult for me personally to see what was going on.
Oh, I see. That could be a problem. Honestly, if there's one thing I could say that was confusing about this movie is like the time frames of everything. Like they went to sleep and it's still nighttime
I mean,
in
to be fair,
Halloween.
I go to sleep at night and wake
Okay
up and
then.
it's still night.
Hmm. Also, the parents are still fucking partying. Like Jesus, how
I
much
mean, I
party
wonder
can
if
you handle?
I got the impression that when the witches were singing at the party, that was some
Yeah,
kind of spell to just
yeah,
keep them there. Like,
yeah. You're
I
probably
don't know.
right.
That was just the impression that I got. I think although there's that, but I also have another particular issue with this movie, and it's Allison.
Hmm.
My God, I don't think I've ever seen a more one-dimensional character than Allison.
Allison is
Yeah,
that
the
the
one who
girl
literally
character,
exists to
right?
just be a love interest for the main character, and that's it.
Honestly, I swear to God that the way that she acts like the character, so we can claim that we have diversity. You know, that's
White
how she
woman,
acts.
yeah, such great diversity in this movie.
I mean, it's the '90s. You know, most of the movies are like men.
Don't think I'll agree with that.
Well, I think there's a push to have more females and women. At least females in movies. At least one point in time.
But anyway, I think I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this movie. It has such a weird plot because to me it's like um it's not how do we stop these witches blah blah blah. Like the stakes don't really feel that I I really don't know how to explain this, but the fact that all they have to do is basically play a game of keep away and then the witches will just die kind of made the story not very compelling.
Not really, but I mean, it's a weird movie, and they own it. They're not trying to say, look at our very deep, humbling story about these characters being trapped by witches. It's a silly story. And honestly, I think, like, when we're reviewing movies, I feel like we really just ignore that. Like, there can be movies that just can be exist for
Yeah,
whimsical, and
and
that's
we
it.
don't necessarily ignore that. I mean, I think we very much acknowledged it in Willy Wonka. Like that was the entire point of Willy Wonka.
God, I need to watch Willy
Eh.
Wonka again.
I still think it would be nice if we could cover Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but it doesn't seem to be available anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how we would cover it. So good thing we won't. Not now, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the hell owns it.
Somebody?
Yeah, someone is currently holding onto the rights of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want names.
Too bad. You will get no names. No.
I want names.
No.
Names! Nah!
But anyway, I felt like, the acting was at least decent, but that's really the only thing I can particularly say about this movie. I feel like I've seen more whimsical Halloween movies that just were better, particularly The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. But there's not a lot of, Halloween movies that are not just, horror movies.
See, I had another one in my brain, and it's just gone now. But yeah, there is the.
It's
Oh,
just fucking left.
Goosebumps. It's pretty good.
Never watched it. Honestly, I feel like every time, when I was a kid, I heard Goosebumps, and just from that alone, I was like, no, this is just too scary. So I never actually tried it.
See, I couldn't ever understand people that thought Goosebumps was scary.
And keep in mind, I was a kid that was literally judging a book on it by its cover.
I mean, I guess that's fair, but I was introduced to it as the TV show that it was at the time, and I was always baffled by people who found it scary. Because it's like
I see.
it's incredibly tame.
I mean, I really need to. One day, I need to give that the series, books, whatever. I just need to give something a chance of that.
But yeah, I don't know. Just to me, it always felt weird. I understand just avoiding it because you think it might be scary, but actively being scared of it because you've seen it felt weird to me as a kid.
Oh, I mean, I want to talk about the witches more because they're actually they're keeping the Sanderson witches for the sequel.
But they're dead.
I don't fucking know, man.
Christ almighty.
Again, I have not watched that movie, and honestly, I don't know what to think of. In fact, I actually forgot how this movie ended. So, and now watching it again, I was like, wait, hold on the fuck up. How are they making a sequel out of this?
Watching this movie, for starters, the ending was confusing as all fuck. Because okay, so the witches died, the cat turned back into a human, and also somehow he and his sister somehow got sent back in time and lived out their lives and were spirits at the end of the movie, so that they could thank the people that saved them, but if they got sent back in time and were able to live out their lives, did any of this movie even happen?
Wait, is that the explanation? I thought that when he died, when the Sanderson sisters died, the curse placed on him was also dead. And since there's nothing keeping him alive, he just died, and what we saw was their spirits. and him finally entering the afterlife because his
I don't
spirit
know.
was stuck in that
Maybe.
cat.
Who knows?
I mean, it's a pretty basic setup. Eternal life until the thing giving you eternal
Yeah, I'm
life
just
dies.
glad the whole movie wasn't like what the first 2 minutes were. Because, like, the first 2 minutes, I was like, okay, this better go somewhere interesting, or at least mildly entertaining, very quickly.
I mean, yeah, the first 2 minutes was
Yeah,
just the setup.
yeah.
World
Salem
building and all of
witchcraft
that.
trials, just something. It was a time in our history.
So, was it also in like Salem, Oregon that
Pretty
this
sure it was in
happened?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I just know that in Oregon there's also a Salem, but I really doubted that the witch trials actually happened here.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, Massachusetts.
I don't even think Oregon was founded when the witch trials were happening. So,
Also, I could be wrong, but I think Salem is the capital of Oregon. Yeah, it is.
yeah,
Also, I think there's a Salem, Alabama.
really, huh?
Yeah, just yeah, there is. Pretty sure there was like a big like civil rights march in Salem, Alabama at one point in like the 60s, I think.
Look at all these
Yes.
Salems.
And then there is a Salem in Ruby, but that one is a person.
Are they a witch? Burn them.
Well, she can do magic.
Burn the witch.
It would
Burn
not
the
kill her,
witch.
unfortunately. That also
Hang the
would not
witch.
kill her.
Um,
That also would
throw,
not kill
drown
her.
the witch. I'm
Yeah.
running out of
Do you see the
executions. We
do
can
you
go
see the
modern
problem?
electrocute
She would not die
electrocute
from
the
that
witch.
either.
All
She
five
also
at
would not die
once.
from that. You
How do you
don't.
kill her? Shit. Damn. Overpowered much? Can't even die from all
Yeah.
these
It
executions.
it truthfully it's very concerning for where they're going to go with the series.
Oh, huh. Well, that's a thing.
But yeah, I don't know. I felt like this movie not really it didn't really have an interesting plot. Allison, who just was one of the main characters, was extremely one-dimensional. We have these two bully characters who really weren't ever used in a way that helped out anything.
No, I think they were just used so they can be kidnapped later, and we wouldn't have to feel bad about it. I mean, I didn't feel bad about it
I don't know.
anyway.
It just felt weird to me, and they're also the
Also,
strangest bully characters I've ever seen in fiction.
yeah,
That's just my
just like New Yorker, Hollywood.
yeah. It felt
What?
really weird to me. Like I was bullied as a kid, and I've never seen a bully act like that.
I think because they
Yeah.
don't.
Disney, please learn how bullies actually act. Although,
Yeah.
I guess it's fair to say they probably have, because remember Tyler in Turning Red? That's pretty accurate.
Mm. I mean, yeah, this was in the fucking 90s, you know? I think they had plenty of time to
Figure
get with the
shit out.
program. Though, we have significant time, and I just really want to talk about what the actual hell can they do with the sequel other than pull a fucking Willy Wonka shit? Because I don't actually know. I was pretty sure it was a sequel, but it almost feels like like they have a setup for just a remake and that's it.
I don't know. To me, I'm getting tired of all these old franchises getting sequels, like out of nowhere. Like we had a recent Ghostbusters sequel, and we get a sequel to this, and we also have a sequel to the Matrix trilogy, and like I don't know, just stop. Start making original IPs. Clearly they can do well. I mean, Pixar
Yeah, I mean everyone's blaming Disney for their sequel happiness, and they do have their sequel trigger holstered, but
yeah, and now Frozen
like
3, Zootopia 2, and Toy Story 5 are in the works. And I just
then you have stuff like Matrix 4. Like that movie didn't even come out recently, you know? Like sorry, I mean like the Matrix series. That the last movie of that didn't even come out recently before you made a fourth one. You
I
could have let
mean,
it
it
die.
was the same case for Hocus Pocus
You
and
didn't.
Ghostbusters. Although to be fair, Ghostbusters Afterlife was
Yeah.
actually good. Um
Okay. But explain
no.
Ghostbusters
Uh
2016. Because that's another movie that came out, quite a lot of years later after the series has already been
yeah, but it's
gone
not
and
a
dusted.
sequel. It's meant to be a reboot, and everyone hated it, so they went back.
I feel like the Ghostbusters Afterlife I feel like that was like an
Yeah,
apology
I've
for
made
the
that statement too,
abomination.
that it feels like an apology. You know what? Ghostbusters is another movie that's like, you know, it's a Halloween movie, but it's not like
Oh shit! Yeah, I almost forgot about that. I always forget about
yeah,
Ghostbusters.
I'd love to cover Ghostbusters.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we
I think
should.
I remember there being a problem of it not being available anywhere, but I feel like I also remember
Oh
it.
yeah, I think it was actually
I feel like I also
Afterlife.
remember it might be available on Hulu. I just can't remember. We'll have to check later.
Yeah, I feel like it was Afterlife that wasn't on anything, and that was our main issue.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this movie. It's just kind of it's for me. It's somewhere in the realm of bad to meh because one-dimensional characters, a non-interesting plot, and I don't know. It didn't
Would you watch the Last Unicorn over it?
honestly. Probably yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm actually very interested to hear any critic
Oh
ratings
yeah.
we
Let's
have
see
for
how much
this.
time we've elapsed. Eh,
Um,
that's good enough. Okay, so yeah, so
good
digging
enough
into
for
the
me.
critic ratings, they're not particularly great. Um, yeah,
Really?
IMDb has it at 6.9 out of 10. Nice.
Nice, but
Rotten
holy shit.
Tomatoes has it at 38%.
Oh,
Metacritic has it at
Christ.
43%. And 86% of Google users like the movie.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Average.
that's basically average. So, I don't know. How do I feel about this movie? I feel like I want to just give it a 4.8 and be done with it.
Mm.
Wow, that's
6.7.
pretty high. Huh.
I mean, there's some childhood
Yeah,
nostalgia added to it.
guess I can't really argue with childhood nostalgia. I mean, but regardless, join us tomorrow for Peter Pan, and next week for something and Dragon Ball Z Abridged Season 3, which we'll need to record.
Let's see if Avery hates this movie or Peter Pan more.
I will
See
probably
you
hate Peter
tomorrow.
Pan more, just saying, because that movie actually has problematic elements.
And this just had this
Yeah, this
just
was just a
had things.
nothing movie.
Things
That's all it
happened.
was. Okay, so with all that being said, I've been Avery. That's been Lily. We will be seeing you.